Once upon a time, there was a great man who came to the shores of the Mediterranean and said, "Here we will build a wall, and inside it a town we shall call Barcelona." Then later we were invited by the barbarians and the Moors. Then we have another great idea, so we built the second and the third city walls, the harbor and the city fort. We also built the first rail lane on the Iberian Peninsula. All of a sudden, the Alphonse Sardà offered us the great plan for expansion of Barcelona. And then we grew and grew. Then we hosted the Universal Exhibition, built the Park of Cidadeideia. With Barcelona in 82, we moved the port and built the Olympic Village. City orbital road. As that great man said, Barcelona, the city idea. How do we move around the city? We are more than 3 million users. Some use private motorized transport, others take public transport. Then there are the cyclists and of course the pedestrians. Let's pause for a moment. 150 years of Sardà's planning has absorbed many changes, but since then the city has densified. What problems we have noted? First, there is no clear street definition. In other words, all the users use all the roads. Second, high level of acoustic contamination. And third, a lack of quality open space. Can you imagine a new city? Dedicated roads for cars and buses, and other pacified roads for the cyclists and pedestrians. Let's have a look at how the new pedestrian street may be. And at the center of the new superblock, new public spaces defined by the chamfered corners. Let's look at this step by step. We will analyze the traffic system surrounding the city. Each day, 2 million cars use the following roads according to the current hierarchy: the two ring roads, Ronda de Dalt and Ronda Litoral, the Gran Via, Avinguda Diagonal, Avinguda Meridiana, and the inner ring road, Ronda del Mig. Next level, horizontal, one way per the streets, Gran Via and Aragon, Valencia and Mallorca, and finally the upper pair, París Industria with Còrsega and Travessera de les Corts. The vertical pairs, Numancia and Intensa, Montaner and Aribau, Balmes and Passeig de Gràcia, and finally Lepanto Padilla. This is currently the city's basic road network. Similarly, we analyze the interurban and urban public transport networks, the national train system and their stations, the metropolitan train system, tram lanes, and finally the interurban buses. We will now identify the main interchange between interurban and urban public transport systems. Let's review the inner city area, and we will identify the movement of private vehicles over the major streets, the lesser used streets, and cars and more cars. Slowly, private vehicles have taken over the city. Let's now analyze the urban public transport systems. We will start with the metro, 7 lines and their corresponding entries, 6 tram lines, trambus and trambesos, and now the bus routes. "104 bus routes, an extensive but confusing system, which does not service certain parts of the city and does not favor interchange between buses and other forms of public transport." We propose a new specialization of the road network. Let's start with the horizontal one-way paired street. The major horizontal streets, Arellano and Gran Via, will remain unchanged. Valencia and Mayorga will change to Valencia and Diputación. And the upper pair with use Avinguda Diagonal will now use Rosselló and Provenza, which will reduce intersections and congestion. With this new use of horizontal streets, existing traffic flows through the city will be guaranteed, while liberating a number of horizontal streets from car use. Now, the vertical one-way paired streets, which will remain unchanged. Numancia and Intensa, Muntaner and Aribau, Balmes and Passeig de Gràcia, and Lepanto Padilla. We'll review to change the direction of 2 streets in one of the most congested intersections in the city. We propose to change the direction of both Carrer Urgell and Avinguda Sarrià. This will ease movement of vehicles out of the city via Urgell and allow entry into the city via 4 vertical streets: Viladomat, Villarroel, Muntaner, and Balmes. This way will reduce intensity and dependence of the city's most used street, Avinguda Diagonal, allowing the diagonal to be converted into a grand pedestrian boulevard. Let's look at the new organization of streets for private transport use. Primary streets, those arterial streets with greatest vehicular use. Secondary streets, large pedestrian boulevards with active private vehicle use. And tertiary streets, local streets with low-level private vehicle use. What does the new public bus system look like? We propose 18 vertical routes perpendicularly aligned between the sea and the mountain, and 11 horizontal routes aligned between the rivers Llobregat and Besòs. We'll now identify the bus-to-bus modal connection points. And also the connection between bus to inter-urban transport systems, such as the trains, trams, and metros. With a reduction of lines, we create a system that is simplified, logical, and far more intuitive. As now shown, we also improve the interchange between public transport systems, known as intermodality. Over the new road system, we will note the large and important parks, public buildings, and existing boulevard streets. We now identify the proposed pedestrianization of streets with the eventual transformation of 17 civic routes, connecting pedestrians and cyclists with isolated parks and major public buildings across the city. The new road network has changed the concept of the city. The new superblock has been created by grouping the city blocks that will be enclosed by the designated transport street. Let's analyze the typical 2x2 superblock. These are the current streets and their parking spots. All the streets currently support motorized traffic with buses, delivery vehicles, cars, motorbikes, and parking. We propose eliminate traffic from the new pedestrian streets by providing alternative for parking while making the motorized streets more efficient. We have now allowed an opportunity for pedestrians and cyclists to have their own space. Let's look at the proposal for alternative parking spaces. We propose underground parking under a pedestrian street or under a recovered internal city courtyard. Either of these options will improve existing parking opportunities for residents and short-term use. It will also help finance the construction costs for the new pedestrian spaces. How does the new bus interchange system work? On bus route B6.
Propera parada, Montaner. Connexió amb línia B15. Direcció muntanya.
Let's consider what the new pedestrian cyclist streets provide. They are friendlier and safer spaces that are more relaxing and closer to everyone, with more variety of urban environments and particularly more peaceful. Residents and shop owners will appreciate these changes. A quick overview. First, we will install the new transport systems on the surface, including making small but critical changes to the road structure and providing a new simplified and logical bus system. Second, pedestrianizing the city with 17 new civic pedestrian routes connecting the major public amenities. And finally, a new network of residential communities, the new superblocks. Barcelona's 3 million residents will shout together, Barcelona, the city idea.